You've been to the NNL. How many years have you been coming?
I think this may be my 6th. This is the best show in the country. I truly believe.
It's hard to get it all in a day. What's your mode when you get here?
I hit the aftermarket stuff first so that it doesn't sell out.
Right.
Then place models.
This is the final video in our series on the NNL East. We continue our talk with Bill Barrett, Tim Ettenheim, Tom Geiger, and Rick Hanmore, and take you on a tour of the show with Tom. If you missed it, check out parts 1, 2, and 3 in this series to learn about the show's founding and go behind the scenes to see how they make it such a good day.
Hi, I'm Tom Geiger, and welcome to NNL East. Once you're inside NNL East, there's 3 different directions you can go. We have vendor room 1, and if that wasn't enough, we have vendor room 2, and then at the back of the hall, we have a double gymnasium as our display room.
Tom, you must have some real long-time vendors here.
We have vendors that go back the full 35 years that we've had vendors at the show. Over the years, we've developed a market for the aftermarket, so this has become the annual pilgrimage for the aftermarket. Some of them say they make half their budget at this show. In vendor room 1, we have vendors from around the country and often from Europe. C1 Models comes from England every year. The models from Ukraine are down the end. And we've had vendors from Sweden. We had Juha Aero and his group. So it's quite an international event. And of course, half of Canada is here. On one side of me here, we have Bob Cornow, a Model Car Garage, who pioneered photo etch in the model car business. They've been with us forever. So we have the faithful. We have Too Many Projects from California. He's got 3D printed bodies, the latest technology in the hobby, right in the same area. So in the corner is Automodello, well-known vendor.
Some beautiful die cast.
And we have handcrafted models from Ukraine. On this side of the room, this is Detail Master, one of the nationally known vendors, comes every year. And as we walk down this way, we have Manufacturers Row. We have the Round 2, AMT, exhibit. Next table, we have Model Cars Magazine, who is also photographing the models for the show. And moving on, we have Atlantis, who's taken over many of the old molds and is working on the nostalgic market. And where would we be without Revell and Monogram?
These are 2 of the biggest vendor rooms you'll probably ever see. And this is so important. As much as we love the internet, when you're here, you're supporting people directly. And you get to hold it. You get to see it in your hand.
But the first few years, there were no vendors. You remember John said he wanted this to be a show about the models.
Yeah.
And after a few years, people were asking for vendors. So John said, okay, we'll allow vendors, but if they get in the way of the models, they're gone. Little did he know where this would go. We could have 1 million vendors there if we wanted. And we held it back. It's an aftermarket show. We call it the annual celebration of the aftermarket. They all come from around the country and Europe. People are very excited to see all these goods, in person and be able to buy them. And even people will look at the goods and order them later. That's important to us.
It's a big day for them.
A couple of years ago, we stopped announcing how many people were there and how many models were on the table because we had other shows saying, we're going to beat their number. Or there would be people, if we went down 200 that year, would say, oh, the show's declining. So we said, no, there's no reason why we need to announce the numbers anymore. Part of the vendor rooms being the size they are, we want to keep it the way it is because there's a certain amount of money in the community to be spent. And these vendors are flying in from places. And we have to make sure it's worth their while. They're not going to be sitting in a hall full of another 100 tables of local guys selling kits. We're very particular who we let in. They have to be of good character. There's been vendors we've asked not to come back. So we're very aware of our quality level.
And now off to the next vendor room?
Yes.
2 huge vendor rooms.
And we've reached vendor room number 2, where we've got vendors such as Jimmy Flintstone Studios with an abundance of resin models as usual. And right over here, I got Scale Motorsports with 4 tables of their latest kits.
Their decals, supplementary kits, wiring, tools.
Just about anything you could want. Global Scale Model Trucks, they do 3D printing of truck modelers for the big rig folks. And we also have abundant kit vendors here. You can buy new kits, old kits, and find that kit of your dreams that you had as a kid.
Wall of kits. New stuff, super rare old stuff. This is the place to get it.
And we have Johan models right over here.
Every year, Tom keeps the layout pretty much the same. So you know if you're looking for a certain vendor, they're about in the same place every year.
And we have Canuck 3D from Canada.
We've sold well over 100 items today.
What's selling the best?
Wheels, wheels, wheels. 3D printed wheels. It's first time here at the show too, which is really
Very
exciting.
good.
It's been a great experience.
Good luck on the rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
If you're looking for parts, there are just tons of boxes of parts. I found great stuff in years past from right here. If you're in here and you see something, buy it. Maybe gone by the time you come back. This is your first NNL?
Yes,
What do you think?
it's crazy, but in a very good way. Just so much. I've looked forward to it. It's just a lot. This stuff is just so inspiring, but it's a lot of fun. So far, I've spent the entire day in the vendor rooms.
That's right. I'm glad to be able to share these stories with you through our videos. One of the things that makes this channel possible is the ongoing support of viewers who become patrons. As a thank you for their patronage, we publish brief posts from my bench on our Patreon page exclusively for patrons. If you'd like to help further the work we do here on Model Car Muse, check out the Patreon link in the description below. I'm about to step out of the vendor's room and I haven't spent any money. Tom, what's going to happen when we go through this door?
This is the double display room. We have over 140 tables for people to bring their models for display. This is not a contest. This is more a cruise night for scale modelers. So we encourage people to bring all the models that they are proud to show us.
Oh, isn't this a happy place? So much good stuff here.
This is our club table. We call it the swag shop. Each year we've done souvenirs for the show. In fact, you see my hat. Every year people say you need to do hats. So we've finally done it and they're selling at a fast pace.
And down at the end, Dave Wood, running the hospital.
So Dave Wood's one of our members, and he said, you know, we need a model hospital for people when they've traveled, their models get damaged. So every year he sets up the model hospital, and there's always people who need their model repaired.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
He's such a good guy to hang out with. And this is Dave Wood from the club.
I supply everything from epoxy, super glue, even if you want to shine it up a little bit. I've got a spray-on wax and a rub-on wax. If somebody bumps the model or somebody knocks into him as he's displaying it, knocks a mirror off, I got everything you need to repair it.
Everything except spare parts.
I don't carry parts.
It's not the Napa of models.
It'd be a good way to get rid of some of my spare parts, though.
That's an idea. It's an important part of NNL East. You know, it's such a thoughtful group in knowing what people really need. And Dave's here to counsel you all the way through. This is kind of a room that ends up being where Model Cars magazine sets up to photograph models. People hang out and you can actually sit down and get off your feet. When you arrive with your model and it's time to unpack, you cruise around, you look for the placard with whatever category you're in, lay out your model. Keep in mind when your model's there, you may get a little card slipped under it if there's someone that has an interest to photograph it for a magazine. They'd like you to bring it to their table for photography.
And they're also the starters of conversations that have started many friendships. Somebody digs your model, now you've got a friend. And it's amazing how many of these people that I know on a first name basis and have known for years. Today is typical of what you'll find if you come to NNL East. We're very consistent. Today is a really good day. The crowd is about the size we want it to be. And there's so many models here on the tables. And we can't forget the guys who throw the show. So each year our club is proud to display all of our models on our club table.
It's incredible to see how diverse the subject matter is.
You never know where your journey is going to take you. I started out in this hobby with the idea of building the 12 Mopar models that I had in a box. And I still haven't touched those Mopars because I was attracted to different types of modeling by people that influenced me. So now I build mostly light commercial and different types of trucks because of the influence of Joe Caverly and other great modelers. Every year for our show art, we select themes for people to build models too. People always build special models. So our categories this year, the main theme is rods and customs. Our sub-theme is the 75th anniversary of the 49 Merc. And we've got a theme we call the web theme. We only announced it on our website, and we put it there to make people go to the website and learn that that's their source for information.
At my first NNL East, I saw this model, And it struck me because I had, as a child, seen so many of these box tops. And I thought, oh, how clever that someone actually did make a model that replicated the box top. Of course, I had been reading Scale Auto Enthusiast magazines before I went to the show. And I looked down and I said, this is Rick Hanmore's model. And I knew the name because of all the articles that he did. And I was really blown away by that. I thought it was so cool that he was at this show. To this day, I still think that this is a wonderful idea. It was the first time I ever saw anyone replicate box art. I thought it was neat, and I still do. I think it's a really fun model, and I like everything about it.
You do a theme award every year.
Yeah, a couple of them.
How do you guys come up with the theme?
It's a group thing. Again, all year long, we talk at our meetings, and someone will throw out something that's just outlandish, and someone else will come back with something else, and sooner or later, we come up with something, and everybody just stops dead and says, that's it. We try to be different than the other shows. We want it to stand out and be a little different. We also want to have a broad appeal, so that people that build all kinds of different genres, whether you're a truck builder or a car builder or a race car builder, that there's something in the theme that you can do. You know, we try to make it something everyone wants to build for, and we've always said that it's fun building models, but it's more fun to make other people build models. Lately, we've been repeating in honor of some of the past shows. So we have the John Slavosky Award, which is the people's choice of the whole room. Then we'll have the theme and the sub-theme, Best Junior. And then we have a couple personal awards. We have the Joe Caverly Award. Joe was a good friend of ours, a member, and he was what I used to call the dirty old truck builder. So we wanted to keep Joe's memory alive. We're a couple people who know Joe, walk around the room, and say, what model would Joe have appreciated? So those are the awards. And each year we'll get people coming in, I'd like to sponsor a best paint, or we'd like to sponsor an award. And so, sorry, it's not about awards. It's about the people who come to the show. We give a couple of acknowledgments, and that's about it.
Yeah, the ceremony at the end is great.
You know, the ceremony's fun, but I'll tell you the sad moment at the end of the day. I say to myself, you know, there's someone in this room who won't be here next year because we're an aging hobby. And unfortunately, you know, it's always
every year.
Every year we lose people in this hobby, so that's why we do need the younger generation to come in. Keep in mind that when we started this, the hobby was much younger. We were all in our 30s and 40s. But we got to make sure that there's a generation following us.
We'll work on it.
But we always have our good luck charm. At the end of the show, somebody leaves a model behind. And we know that that means next year's show will be a success. That's just the good luck.
And one year, Jim Haught was there from Scale Auto Magazine taking pictures. And we had the models that were left over there. He goes, hey, do you want me to take a picture of this as a parting shot? I said, no, Jim, everyone will leave their model next year.
NNL East means a lot to me. I have an older cousin that brought me when I was a small kid. When it was at Parsippany, I was blown away by what I saw at NNL East. I just couldn't believe the details on these models. As I was growing up, I built some. Then I became a teenager. I started messing with real cars, and then went back as I got older, grabbed the model kit, and I'm back at the bench building, and it's been a lot of fun. The hobby has evolved with 3D printing and the supplies that are out now. They're just great. It makes it more fun to build these days. It's like a brotherhood. There's no discrimination. We're all modelers. We're all artists to me. You know, we all can learn from each other. I've learned from new modelers techniques, and I also learned from modelers who've been building for years. It's always good company.
And you know, it's so funny, online we see people that have all these different political opinions and that sort of thing. Once they hit that hall, it just dissipates. Everybody is a friend.
Oh, we are.
Everybody,
yeah. It is funny because I'm on Facebook. And I know who's on the right, who's on the left, and they don't say a word about it. You know, we're friends. You know, in that room we're friends.
That's right.
If we get the whole world to build model cars, we could solve a lot of problems. I guess. I don't know.
Thanks for you and your guys, and a great show as always.
Thank you.
Can't wait till next year.
Me either.
I said to John Papp, I said, I'd like the opening of my video for NNL East to have the drone come over, like the line and everything. And John's like, that's a cool idea. And he was licensed and everything. And gets back to me like 20 minutes later. That's restricted airspace. I'm like, okay.